Parents, if you use a childminding service, you're being asked to help shape the future of childminding. Minister Catherine Zappone has launched a report. It's proposing reforms of the childminding sector, and there are consultation workshops being held in Limerick tomorrow. Bernadette Orbinski Burke from Childminding Ireland is on the line to tell us a bit more. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Joe.
So can you just clarify who Childminding Ireland represent first?
Yes, of course. Childminders are self-employed and they work in their own home minding children, and they usually work for a number of different families. So Childminding Ireland is a membership organisation and our members are childminders.
And if someone is a member of Childminding Ireland, what does it mean in practice?
Well, the reality of the situation at the moment, Joe, is there's no requirement to have any form of regulation if you're a childminder, unless you're minding 4 or more preschool children. If you are minding less than 4, there's no system you can join. It's not a case of childminders choosing not to join a system. There is no system for them. So there's that vacuum there, but Childminding Ireland has membership criteria. So childminders who become members of ours are choosing in this vacuum to self-regulate. We require that they have BARDA vetting. We require that they have insurance for childminding. They sign up to a code of ethics. The vast majority have paediatric first aid training, but that's becoming a mandatory requirement from July next year, as is the online TUSLA child protection 1-hour introductory course.
Right, because the figures are that only 120 of 35,000 childminders across the country are registered with TUSLA. Yeah. No, the numbers speak for themselves. The current system is absolutely failing childminders. And I'd like to make the point, because sometimes it's lost, that if you're not registered with TUSLA, it doesn't mean that you have a poor quality service. It's this point about unless you're minding 4 or more preschool children, which is quite... can mean changing your car so you can fit all the car seats in. I think it's not something that everybody wants to do. There is no way that you can register with TUSLA. Right.
So the current system is completely flawed.
Now, this is quite detailed, but what sort of reforms is Minister Zappone looking at?
Well, there were 20 proposals that were made to the Minister, and the detail, if your listeners... hopefully they'd be interested to have a look. But if they look on our website, which is childminding.ie, under About and News, it's there in full. But just as a quick sort of synopsis, the proposals are across a number of different things, including legislative change. But primarily, I suppose the important thing is to have a register of childminders. That, I suppose, is the core proposal. And really what Childminding Ireland is wanting to speak to childminders and parents using childminding services about is, what is that reasonable the starting point? In other words, what is it reasonable to ask people to have in order to be on that register?
If it gets too regulated, it might put a lot of very decent people who are doing some childminding at the moment off doing it in the future.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important that childminders and parents come out to these consultation meetings, because we want to lobby on their behalf and really reflect those views back. The next step is the Department of Children and Youth Affairs, the DCYA, have been asked by the Minister, having reviewed the proposals, to have an action plan by the end of the year. Now, the action plan that's been called for is what they call a high-level action plan. It won't have all the detail, but it will have the general direction that they feel childminding should go in. So we're in constant touch with the department, and they're very open to having the feedback from parents and from childminders. So that's one of the reasons it's so important.
Are grandparents considered childminders?
No, the working group had an expression, kinship care, family, not just grandparents, could be aunties or uncles or, family members. The point is not in any way to interfere with the family network or the family life. But ultimately, I think there's another issue here, as well as the child protection issue of having some sort of regulation of the sector. As things currently stand, childminders are hugely disadvantaged because unless you're registered with TUSLA, which, as we've said, only 120 currently are, the parents using your service can't benefit from any of the government subsidies for childcare costs. So over time, as these subsidies increase, childminders are going to be hugely disadvantaged. What we need is an appropriate and relevant system for the childminding sector. And if grandparents wish to register and are open to taking other children or being registered basically and going through the system, there's no reason why parents using their service should be disadvantaged. But it's not intended as such to regulate family care.
Right. Well, the Limerick Childminding Consultation Workshop is taking place in the Green Hills Hotel on the Ennis Road. That's tomorrow evening at 7:30. And anyone listening who wants to go along should book a place with Childminding Ireland. The number is 01 287 8466, or you can email support@childminding.ie. And it sounds as though this is your chance to shape what Minister Catherine Zappone is eventually going to come up with when we're talking about the regulation of childminders in Ireland. Thank you very much to Bernadette Orbinski Burke from Childminding Ireland this morning.